Building Your Own Empire: The Revolutionary Path to Mental Wellness. Welcome to a conversation that might just transform how you think about your mental health journey. Recently, I had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Odessa Moore Smith, known to her community as Odessa, the self proclaimed empress of positivity. This remarkable visionary has not only conquered her own battles with anxiety and depression, but has created a movement that's empowering Black professionals to reclaim their mental well being by building their own empires. Her work transcends inspiration. It's nothing short of revolutionary, offering a beacon of hope in spaces where traditional systems have failed us. 3 years ago, if someone had suggested that entrepreneurship could be a pathway to mental wellness, I might have dismissed it with a skeptical laugh. Another hustle culture pitch, I would have thought, rolling my eyes. But what Odessa has created goes far beyond business strategy. It's about sovereignty, about creating spaces where we can truly breathe, truly heal, truly thrive in a world that often doesn't make room for our full humanity. The statistics around mental health in our community are not just sobering, they're heartbreaking. Between 2018 and 2021, suicide rates among Black youth ages 10-24 increased from 8.2% to 11.2%, making it the third leading cause of death in this demographic. Let that sink in for a moment. Our children are dying because they don't see a way forward in a world that often seems determined to dim their light. During the pandemic in Prince George's County, a predominantly African American area, approximately 17% of high school students seriously contemplated suicide. 10% reported attempts. These aren't just numbers on a slide, these are our children, our future, our hope. Each percentage point represents young lives balancing on a knife's edge between despair and possibility. And it's not just affecting our youth. Research suggests the adult Black community is 20% more likely than the white community to experience mental health issues. Yet we're also the least likely to receive appropriate care. The question that keeps me awake at night is why? Part of the answer lies in what Odessa calls systems that weren't built for us. Traditional mental health care often lacks cultural competence, the ability to understand the specific cultural, social, and historical factors that shape our experiences of mental health. Many Black individuals report feeling misunderstood or dismissed when seeking support from providers who lack this understanding. I recently spoke with a young professional named Marcus who described his experience seeking therapy after a series of panic attacks threatened his ability to function at work. The therapist kept suggesting breathing exercises and meditation, he told me, but couldn't understand why I might feel anxious as the only Black man in my department, constantly feeling I had to represent my entire race. Eventually, Marcus stopped going. His story isn't unique, it's repeated thousands of times across our community. As Audre Lorde famously said, for the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Perhaps the same is true for healing. Perhaps we need new tools, new houses, new systems altogether. This is where Odessa's message becomes so powerful. What if, instead of fighting for a seat at tables that weren't built for us, we built our own tables? What if, instead of trying to fit into systems that weren't designed with us in mind, we created our own systems? The data from the National Bureau of Economic Research shows that since 2013, despair has risen sharply for young people in general, but young women in particular have been disproportionately impacted. By 2023, the despair rates for young adults aged 18-24 surpass those of middle aged adults. This is a complete reversal from 1993 when young adults had lower despair rates. something fundamental has shifted in our society. The traditional pathways to well being are failing an entire generation. But here's where it gets interesting. When Odessa talks about building your own empire, she's not just talking about starting a business, though that can certainly be part of it. She's talking about creating alternative support systems. She's talking about establishing personal sovereignty. She's talking about reclaiming your power from systems that may be contributing to your mental health challenges in the first place. I can hear some of you thinking, that sounds great, but I'm just trying to make it through the day with my anxiety. I don't have the energy to build an empire. I hear you, truly, I do. But what if building your empire started with something as simple as creating boundaries around your time? What if it started with finding one person who truly understands your experience? What if it started with giving yourself permission to prioritize your well being, even when society tells you to keep pushing, keep grinding, keep sacrificing small kingdoms before vast empires? That's how it begins. Organizations like the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation understand this approach. They've stepped up to address youth mental health by providing culturally competent resources specifically designed for the Black community. They recognize that healing happens in context, cultural context, community context, historical context. This is exactly what Odessa has created with her Royal Kinship Community, a space where Black individuals dealing with anxiety and depression can find support from people who understand their specific challenges, a space where they don't have to explain, justify, or minimize their experiences, a space where they can simply be. Maya Angelou once wrote, "Now, the ache for home lives in all of us, the safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned." For many Black professionals navigating spaces that weren't designed with them in mind, this ache is particularly acute. Odessa's work is about creating that home, that safe place where healing can happen. Now, I want to be clear about something. Building your own empire isn't about isolation. It's not about giving up on changing existing systems. Those battles still need to be fought. We still need more Black doctors and mental health professionals who understand our specific cultural context. We still need to push for policies that address the social determinants of mental health in our communities. But while those battles are being fought, we also need to create spaces where we can heal now, today, this moment. The pandemic taught us many things, but perhaps one of the most important lessons was that we can't always wait for systems to change. Sometimes we need to create our own solutions. Sometimes we need to build our own lifeboats. This is particularly true for Black women who often find themselves at the intersection of multiple marginalized identities. The injustice is real and it takes a toll on our mental health. But what if we could transform that challenge into an opportunity? What if we could use it to float to places we've chosen rather than places we've been pushed toward? This is the essence of what Odessa calls claiming victory over anxiety and depression. It's not about denying their existence or minimizing their impact. It's about refusing to let them define your path. It's about saying, yes, this is part of my experience, but it is not the entirety of who I am or what I can create. I'm reminded of a powerful affirmation that resonates deeply with Odessa's message. I'm not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. In the context of mental health, this means recognizing that anxiety and depression may be conditions you experience, but they are not your identity. Your empire, whatever form it takes, is built on the foundation of this distinction. For some, building an empire might indeed mean entrepreneurship. The freedom to set your own schedule, create your own culture, and define your own success can be profoundly healing. But for others, it might mean creating strong boundaries within existing structures. It might mean forming a support group of like minded individuals. It might mean dedicating time to creative expression or community service. The form is less important than the function. Creating space where you can breathe, where you can be authentic, where you can heal. One of the most powerful aspects of Odessa's approach is the emphasis on community. Her royal kinship recognizes that healing rarely happens in isolation. We need witnesses to our journey. We need people who can reflect back to us our strength when we've forgotten it. We need people who understand the specific challenges we face as Black professionals in spaces that weren't designed with us in mind. As the African proverb reminds us, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Mental health recovery isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And marathons require support stations along the way. So I stand before you today with a challenge, a call to revolution that begins within and extends outward. The systems that have failed us for generations will not suddenly transform overnight, but we don't have to wait for their permission to begin our healing. Today, I invite you to claim your sovereignty, to identify one small corner of your life where you can build according to your own blueprint, where you can create rules that honor your humanity, your culture, your unique experience of the world. This isn't just about survival, it's about thriving. It's about creating spaces where joy is not just possible, but inevitable, where anxiety and depression may visit, but they don't get to move in and take over the house. Remember, empires aren't built in a day, they begin with a single brick. A single boundary, a single moment of saying, this space is mine and here I will flourish. In the words Odessa often shares with her community, your empire isn't just a place you're building, it's the person you're becoming in the process. The world may not have been built for us, but make no mistake, we are building anyway. And what we create will not just heal us individually, it will transform the landscape for generations to come. Your empire awaits. The throne is yours. It's time to claim it.